Hey, thank you so much for wanting to be the holder and the player and the owner of this magical C alternating drone. So some cool beginner stuff. This piece of wood was gifted to me probably like a year or two ago by a friend, and the wood is local from the state of Oregon. Madrone is a really nice wood that grows wild closer to the middle and southern parts of Oregon. It's all over the place, but it's really cool wood, and it's got great grain, really, really nice grain. There's some knots all over the thing. I've done some minimalist, like turquoise inlay on very, very minuscule parts all over the thing. There's just, as it was drying when I made it a while back, wood ages and it cracks and it splits, and sometimes you go back into pieces and you fill some of those natural blemishes with more, decorations. The Japanese have a particular technique with they put gold inside of cracked pottery. So a lot of the times with newer flutes, I've been doing things like that, like going back into them and fixing them, as I did with this one. This used to be an Lydian tuning, and there were some air leaks and things between the chambers, and the fetish blocks were different, and they weren't getting a good pressure, back pressure, or airflow. So this thing got some TLC, and I restructured it. So now it plays in a C minor, and it's a magical upgrade. It's just light years ahead of how it sounded before, which is what I would hope for when I go back into my old pieces and I fix them. So this is definitely super special, one of a kind. As you can see, there is some doctoring that I've done into it to make it operate the way that it does now. Some of the finger holes have little bits of melted wax inside of them, and that was applied to flatten the tones on certain holes. Like there's wax in this hole that needs to remain there, and that is flattening the tone of this pipe, as opposed to this pipe. There's a smaller one, but it got filled, and a little bit of filling on this one. So the only thing I can say is especially on these tone holes, they need to remain the way that they are. So don't pick this wax out. That's there on purpose. It's making the acoustics operate properly between both pipes. So any place where you see a little bit of beeswax, or it looks like, just like wax or epoxy gunk in there, keep all of those present. They're recessed far enough into the holes where your fingers aren't going to like poke them or pop them out. So don't worry about your fingers messing with them. Just make sure that this always stays in a dry and cool environment, because the hotter if the flute sits in a hot room, this sort of wax and stuff will soften and get malleable, and then if something accidentally poked at it and got into the holes, you wouldn't want that. So just be mindful of that. You can wipe this thing down with any sort of oil that you like if you want to bring back its luster. I've just used Danish oil on it as the first coating, and then I buff it with carnauba wax. And just as you can see, it's got a nice matte semi-sheen shine on it right now. And that can just be reapplied with some, either natural wood paste wax or carnauba wax or beeswax or anything like that, and then just buff it off with a dry cloth, and it'll get nice and shiny again. And there's plenty of other ways to preserve your flute as well, with like just natural oils and stuff. But that's up to the owner of the flute to do what you want with it afterwards. Really nice zebra wood cap and mouthpiece, black walnut and zebra wood alternating. These are the new totems that I put on it. Just like a white and a bluish abalone shell, and they use the chimney style. It was helping the acoustics and the back pressure and making this thing fire a lot more successfully. So as you can see, it's an alternating drone. It's got the third and the fifth in this thing. So I'll show you the first scale, your regular minor pentatonic. Okay. Those are all the notes. So you got some really clean upper register peeling and squealing you can do right there. That would be the four middle covered and the top and the bottom open. Okay, and then your thumb hole, right hand, bottom of the flute, bottom three, and then thumb scoops over here, okay? And that's the third. And then pinky, and then these three, like regular, and then keeping four, if you're doing the minor pentatonic, keeping four down, 1, 2, 3, 5, 5, 6. And then you've got your thumb alternating and your pinky alternating. Drone, C is C and C. Breath pressure, gentle to moderate. Doesn't need to be stronger than that. And then depending as you climb a little higher, you can use a smidge more breath and then get more of the vibrato and the oscillation that you might, cater into your particular style. So I'll switch from these alternating drones so you can just kind of see how the piece glides up and down. This is root note, all holes closed, and then just regular C droning, and then I'll do E flat droning, and then I'll do G droning. E flat droning. Thumb holes open now in the back. And then the G droning. Then, if you do that upper register technique in the G range, so the G drone is open with the back thumb hole is open as well. If you do the upper register technique with the G drone, really cool extra, sort of combination chordal techniques. Okay, so switching between the C drone, which would be closed and closed, and then E flat, and then what's it called, G. If you keep your thumb hole in the back closed, but you open the top one, it gives you an F. So it's even another note that you could pop into the playing style. It's got some some moderate weight to it. This is a dense wood, so as you can tell, the sound clarity's quite high, and the volume's quite high. Um, Very crisp sound quality all the way through. So with this, I would just say get used to having to incorporate your bottom thumb and your pinky into the playing, and this is definitely I would say intermediate, bordering on advanced flute. So regardless of your own comfort level and skill with playing a drone flute, if you ever owned one or had a chance to play on one, it's like playing two flutes in one. But the theory with your ear, with having all the different chordal textures between the third and the fifth, it's almost like you're playing three flutes in one, because you have to compensate and understand where all those scales end up flowing together and the breath pressure needed to switch between the E flat and the G and the C. So that's just the general specs on this beauty that I can share with you to make it easier to step up onto when you first get it. And I'll wipe the mouthpiece and the flute body down with some rubbing alcohol and sanitize it up for you. I think I'll give it a little bit of a buff of carnauba wax here on the mouthpiece too, to give it a little bit more of a like a luster before I send it out. But yeah, that's generally the step-by-steps on this. Just be patient with it, and it will open up really nicely for you as you understand, the breath pressure sensitivity that you need to use with it. But it's very clean and resonant, and it doesn't have any air leaks, and its back pressure is pretty solid. So you just need to be gentle to moderate with your lung capacity, and also make sure that you got a good seal on these finger holes. Like, it's because you have a pinky and a thumb in the back to also close. The standard aspect of holding the instrument and doing the minor pentatonic fingering will be a little bit more of a challenge at first. And then once your fingers get wrapped around the instrument properly, it'll start to flow a little bit easier. But definitely advanced stuff to be thrown in your thumb and your pinky into the mix of all the regular standard native flute playing. So just be patient with it, and the flute will definitely shine and open up for you as you get accustomed to its subtleties. So yeah, thank you. I'm really happy that this already found a home. I was planning on being able to hold it in my collection for a little bit longer, and play it, live and in gigs and stuff, but looks like it's yours already. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you, and I'll ship this out in the next, probably on Monday. So yeah, thank you, and take it easy.